position. And also, they had a sheet here that on this QR code, you can scan that and be able to comment and send it to them this way too. If you were unable to make the meeting this evening, you can scan this QR code and make comments, public comments there. And here is the clause number for the rate. Let's see, light and power rates, clause number. If you want to refer to that and make a
Good evening,
comment.
everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Emily Duncan, and I work for the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, also known as the IURC. The IURC is hosting tonight's hearing. If you are not familiar, we are the state government agency responsible for the regulation of public utilities in the state of Indiana. The agency currently includes 5 appointed commissioners who each have an equal vote on all total cases for the commission. The IURC hears evidence in cases filed before it and makes decisions based on the evidence presented in those cases. The IURC is required by state statute to make decisions in the public interest to ensure that utilities provide safe and reliable service at just and reasonable rates. Field hearings, such as this one, provide you with the opportunity to formally offer comments to the commission on cases that are under consideration. Before the commission reaches a decision in this case, it reviews evidence presented by all parties, including any comments that are made here this evening. We are joined tonight by Commissioner Valletta, presiding Administrative Law Judge Pankey, and our IURC court reporter A, who will record your comments to be included in the official record of the case. Because this is a pending proceeding before the IURC, the commissioners and the Administrative Law Judge are not allowed to answer any questions or engage in discussion about the case. They are here to listen to what you have to say. Of course, if you do have any questions about today's hearings, feel free to find myself or Ashley in the back of this nice giant room. All right, it is important that you speak loudly and clearly into the microphone that will be over here that I will put back on the podium, because those comments will be transcribed for the record. With that, I will turn it over to the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, also known as the OUCC, which is the agency that formally represents the consumer interests in all matters before the commission. And I will turn it over to Ashley Bishop, who has a few more words to share.
Thanks, Emily, and a good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Ashley Bishop with the OUCC, the separate state agency representing the public in this case and other cases before the commission. There are 4 things we want you to know before this hearing begins. Number 1, tonight's hearing has one purpose, and that is to hear comments from the public. You will not see a presentation from the utility tonight because we filed this case in writing in April. The OUCC's fact sheet has a brief summary of the utility's request along with other information about the case. Again, tonight is all about giving you a chance to speak to the commission. Number 2, this is one of several steps in the case process. Those steps are listed in the fact sheet, and the final word from the commission is not expected until early next year. Number 3, a team of engineers, accountants, attorneys, and other experts from the OUCC is reviewing the utility's request and will file its report on July 31st. Number 4, you should have received your form along with your fact sheet. If you would like to speak tonight, please fill out the top half of that form and return it to our table. If you don't want to speak tonight but still wish to make comments, you can do so in writing using that same form, or after the hearing to the avenues noted on the fact sheet. Written comments carry equal weight to the spoken comments heard here tonight. They will become part of the formal case record so long as we receive them by July 24th. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to find me or another OUCC team member. And with that, I will turn it over to Judge Hankey, who will begin the hearing.
Good evening. I'm Steve Hankey, Administrative Law Judge of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. To my right is Commissioner David Valletta, here joined by Court Reporter Amy. Mr. Haas represents the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor. As you've heard, tonight's hearing is to provide the general public an opportunity to testify about the relief requested in this clause. Testimony may be provided orally or in writing, regardless of how comments are provided. They're all part of the record and duly considered. This is a formal hearing, and all testimony provided will be given under oath. As in a formal courtroom proceeding, no outbursts are permitted here. For all testimony to be properly recorded, each witness must speak in the microphone slowly, clearly, testimony should only address the specific issues raised in this proceeding, specifically things related to Anderson's request for updated rates, charges, and financing for electric service. The commission will consider all public comments tonight. However, Indiana state law prevents us from answering any questions as part of tonight's public field hearing. If you're going to speak tonight, Mr. Haas will let you know when to approach the microphone. Finally, I'd like to give special thanks to Anderson and staff for hosting us tonight. Thank you for This is a field hearing before the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. The clause documented before the commission is clause number 46397, captioned as petition of the city of Anderson, Indiana, by and through its municipal electric utility, Anderson Municipal Light and Power, for 1, approval of the new schedule of rates, and 2, approval to improve indebtedness through the issuance of electric utility revenue bonds. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was given as provided by law by publication in Marion County's Indianapolis Star on July 2nd, 2026, and Madison County's Herald Bulletin on July 3rd, 2026, and the Elwood Call Leader on July 9th, 2026. These are newspapers of general circulation, and these publications were made at least 10 days prior to the date of the field hearing. The proofs of publication of the notices have been received by the commission and are now incorporated into the record of this clause by reference and placed in the official files of the commission. Notice has also been given to the Indiana Office of Utilities and Sewer Counselor and other interested parties.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appearing on behalf of the LUCC, Jason Watts, representing.
Thank you. Will all who know themselves to be witness in this clause please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm evidence you will give in this clause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I first call Randy Grimm. Thank you, Mr. Ware. Would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Randy Greer.
You may continue. Thank you.
I just have a proposal. We don't do the 13% raise. There's been enough problems with all of our utilities that we just don't deserve the raise on the prices that we're paying. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. I next call Kevin Carr.
I did not realize this was I was actually reading this slide. I sent a few comments, but I didn't know. I agree to tell the truth and all that. I just was reading this, and all of a sudden I heard something about put your right hand up.
Thank you. Do you mind approaching that microphone? We'll go this way.
All right. Yeah, I apologize. Like I said, I'm just looking at this flyer, then I realized, well, I should.
Are you back on the record? So Carl, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the evidence you will give in this clause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I had a few, I realize that this is probably not the format to ask actual questions, but I did have a few comments. I used to work there, so I can have it. I worked there roughly 35 years now. Of course, I'm retired. I know all the guys there and everything. They still work there. However, when they were going to the city council for this, to get to approval, I was out of town, so I could not watch it, could not be there in person. But I did watch it on YouTube, and I was able to take a few notes and some screenshots. So I actually made some copies of that. I don't know if I'm going to post a bench up there. I can give you this information, and because this is what the questions regard is the information that's presented to city council.
Your Honor, yes, we can exhibit with you.
Okay. I got one more for myself. Share. For the record, I'm really not for or against the rate increase. some of these, and I don't know this personally, because I no longer work there. But I eat lunch, have lunch with a lot of employees that still work. And some of these employees have brought to the attention, to me, that my submissions there on this sheet is called Capital Improvement Projects 2026. Some of these projects have already been completed. And I didn't know how the rules were on a situation like that. I just didn't know, but I want to bring it to your attention to find out if the projects that had already been done several years ago, why are they on the capital improvement projects of 2026 as if they were going to get done this year? It didn't make any sense to me. Do we understand that part? Okay.
Sorry, there's no.
Okay. Another question is the very top one called Substation Renovation Plant 1. We inherited that from GM years ago. It's always been sitting out there. And in the past, it was never really feasible to upgrade the substation and actually take load. So I see that's at the top of the list of $1.5 million. I guess my question is, and I realize you can't answer this question. Has anybody brought any engineering surveys or load flow models or anything to justify bringing this substation online? $1.5 million is a lot of money. Is there a huge project coming to town like a data center or Bitcoin mining or a huge factory where you would need this type of load? Because at the present, at least the way I remember it, unless the peak has changed, our all-time peak is 192 megawatts. If I remember correctly, it's been 5 to 6 years since I worked there, but that's the magic number that I remember, 192 megawatts. And I did some rough calculations today, and it looks like us under the maximum load of each transformer substation, the maximum load ability is about 400 megawatts. Or, rephrase that, 400 MVA. Essentially, the power factor is the same, 100%. So I guess, has anybody done any studies to justify spending that kind of money? It's not needed. What we don't want is this to be a want and not a need. If it's needed, great. I'm all for it. But if it's a want because we're just looking, you see what I'm saying? There needs to be a true need. Now I know after I left, there were 3 substations that were roughly about 40, I don't know the exact number because again, I don't work there and I don't remember every detail of the substation transfers. But they added after I left about, I'm going to just go about 40-some megawatts, which is a huge amount. And then, over the past several years, they've added about 33 megawatts in solar. So if you combine the two, now I realize solar doesn't work well. Solar is a good peak shaper. We all know that, right? But nevertheless, a lot of megawatts have been added to the system. And I'm wondering, has this or will it be utilized first before you spend $1.4 million on building the Plant 1 substation? I mean, that's a huge amount. That needs to be addressed. So make that. So to end this, there's several things on this list that's already been done. And there's some other items, which I don't know if this is the format to discuss it. There's some other items that are questionable whether either needs to be done. Now, if there's a need, I'm all for it. But if it's a want and not a need, I think we need to address that issue. And like I said, this is presented to the city council for capital improvement project for 2026. they've already been done, I'm not sure why you would include that as a proposal for 2026. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Carr.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I next call Ben Glick.
As you can see, there's nobody here. So,
If you could please state your name and record.
And like, so I come before you this evening just to give you a little background on what we're seeing here in Anderson specifically. 21% of Anderson live in impoverished conditions and household income under $46,000. Now that is huge. There are children that are going to school without being fed. Sometimes it's incredibly difficult for this exact reason, because there are kids that are going without being fed for days. Or it's something that we are trying to take care of as a community. And this is something that should be noted. Now, 2026, so far, we've seen medical coverage increase, housing insurance increase, we've seen cell phone companies raise rates per line, gas has gone up, food has gone up. It costs more on a monthly basis to make a household work than it ever has before, and we're seeing that specifically in 2026. A few of the things that I am curious about in regards to this increase is we had an increase in Q4 of 2025, I believe 3.5%. Now there is a suggested increase of almost 15% across the board. It's said that it's going to raise rates about $17 per household on average of 1,000 lots, four lots. I ran just a quick percentage on what it's going to cost my family. It's going to be about $32 per percentage on lots. And if we take a look at that, household like mine, I will say, we can absorb a cost like that. And that's something that we're willing to do. We don't want to, but we're willing to do. There are numerous people within this community that cannot absorb a cost like this, an increase like this. So this town, if we are going to do an increase, it needs to be somewhere more along the lines of an annual increase that's a smaller percentage if we're going to accomplish some of these goals. And we need to have oversight committees in regards to what these goals are going to be, because to the gentleman's point previously, there are things that have been stated that have been done that are even on the document and possible. All of these things combined just give me a feeling that this increase is not justified. And it's something that needs to have hard work with, because our economy here can't sustain that kind of growth. And that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Glick. Your Honor, I propose to take 10-minute break. See if any other members of the public show up.
Thank you. We'll take a 10-minute break.
okay, they're going to take a 10-minute break. If you're sitting at home and would like to speak on the rate hike, you need to run on up here. We're at the city auditorium. The doors are locked on the one side, but where you come in at the utility office, the one door on the end is unlocked. So you come in on that side of the building, not where we usually come for the council. Come in at where the utility office is. So Nicole, how was it sounding? Could you not hear? I can get closer if somebody else wants to speak. I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's going to be anybody else that wants to speak. But some people had told me that this was pretty much already decided, but they can go on record if they have something they want to say, like these two gentlemen did. Like I said, there's not too many people here. Nicole, I can hear. I just thought it would be better in there. Yeah, well, this last guy, he had a good presentation, but he did not speak into the mic. The mic is down. If he had lifted it up a little more, we probably could have heard it a lot better. The mics on stage seem to be on point. So that sheet that I gave you has a QR code on it, and people can comment, scan that code, and send their comments in through that QR code. Because I understand people can't just run up here to meetings, especially this time of evening. They are having a meeting at Anderson Elementary, a town hall, concerning the search for a new superintendent. I would like to have been there also, but I thought this was a little more important uh, to get something on tape. I know several people going to the school board meeting. But what this young man had to say down here was interesting. He spoke about projects that were on the sheet to do that had already been done. I'm surprised nobody from the city was here to correct him or say that might not be true. Oh, see, there was a guy here that said he was working on stuff. Ken's up there trying to get some more information. Now, he said he couldn't answer no questions, but he's down there talking to a young man who had some questions about the projects they had for 2026. And also, if you're just jumping on, the man down here knew about like Light and Power. He used to work for Light and Power. And he said to ask for this much of a load, some of these improvements, it was almost like they were getting ready for a data center or something. So that was very interesting. We definitely would like to know if we are planning for a data center, why we would need that much infrastructure done. And since according to the newspaper, they do not have a capital improvement plan finished. I was told by someone, well, they want to see if they're going to get the rate first. But I would think you would want your plan first so you would see what kind of rate to ask for. You may not be asking for enough, or you may be asking for too much. So there's no plan for us to actually see. There are things listed that they want to do in 2026, but there's really no plan to put online according to the newspaper. It said that the capital improvement plan was not completely finished yet. So that's an interesting point. So we're really not sure what we're going to end up with if they approve this. If it will actually be enough to do what they need to do or have to do, or they have some left over, but they are talking to the young man who had all those questions about the projects that they listed for 2026. So that'll be interesting to see what Ken prints in the paper about what he said. He's not under oath now. He's talking to one of the officials. Was supposed to be sitting up there. It doesn't look like anybody else needs to come forth. I don't think anybody's going to come up here and say, yes, we need this rate hike and go on and give it to them and not know exactly what they're going to be doing. I know they have a list of things that need to be done. And they got to pick and choose what they can afford to do. I can hear, just thought it would be better. Well, you got to talk in the mics, Nicole, and that seems to be a problem everywhere. Nicole, they said the commissioners' meeting's tomorrow morning at 10 and they have a full agenda. I don't think I can make it. I might be able 10, 11. I may try to move some things around and try to make it. Take a look at the agenda, the commissioners' meeting. Oh, guy's still over there talking. I don't know what he's talking about, but he did enough talking up here at this microphone. Once again, this is the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. If you live close enough to run up here and you have something to say about the rate hike, they'd be glad to hear from you. Oh, okay. Dave records too. Dave Sargent's not here. What is he recording, Nicole? Oh, he'll record the meeting in the morning. Okay, I'll pick up his feed then. You're talking about tomorrow morning. Is Dave recording tomorrow morning, Nicole? They're still talking. Look at Ken. No, he can't hear. I forgot. What position? You got all that, Ken? I said, you got all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sure you do. And they're getting ready to start back up. They'll probably close it up. They came up here for these two little comments. But I can tell you for a fact there was nothing posted on the city website about this today. That's when I looked at it. There was nothing on any of the doors when I came in, not the auditorium door, not the door that you come in on. There was no sign of nothing. In fact, I asked a few employees that were leaving about the meeting, and they had no idea what I was talking about. So they certainly wasn't advertising it up here that I could see, because there was nothing posted today. Now, if they had something posted, it must have been taken down. And like I said, the doors that you normally come in for the council meeting, those doors are locked. You have to come around to the utility department, and one of the doors are unlocked, and it's the door on the end, on the west end, I believe it is. But try all of them if you have to, if you're trying to come up here. One of those doors is unlocked. But it's the last door on the end or next to the last. Try them all if you have to. But there was a lady down there that was standing in front of the only door that was unlocked, and it didn't have any note or sign on it. Nothing on it. He's still talking. Okay. I think he said enough for all of us. He gave up enough information to get somebody thinking. Well, I'm sure there were a lot more people who would love to have been here and would have had something to say and could not make it, either did not know about it or couldn't get up here. Right.
Back on record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The OCC, just to be said, there are no other members of the public who wish to speak. I move for entry of exhibit FH1.
You hearing no objections? Public exhibit FH1 is excluded from evidence. participation in today's hearing. Clause number 4639 continues evidentiary hearing, which is scheduled for September 21st, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, room 222 of the PNC Center, 101 West Washington Street, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
Okay, guys, that's the end of this meeting. I'm gonna run over here to the elementary school, see what's going on over there. So I'll holler back.